Alright, we're doing a follow-up to a second Chillingham Castle ghost hunt thing that we did on Friday.
Yeah.
It's a couple of days after that. We were going to do an immediate video afterwards, but it just didn't happen. There was a few were there this time, but we all kind of split up at the end, so we couldn't get people together. It was fucking freezing, and it was raining, so it just didn't happen. So we're just going to record a few thoughts about what happened. It'll be just brief, because there wasn't that much to talk about this time, to be honest.
No.
So if we just go through in order, I guess. So when we first got there, what happened?
Well, it was pitch black when we got there this time. Last time we'd done it was still sort of summer, wasn't it? So it was still quite light. It was peeing down with rain, so that sort of set the tone for it all a little bit, made it all a little bit more sort of spooky. And we got there, and we recognised straight away, pretty much, weren't we?
Aye. Bear in mind, this is like 5 months after the first time we were there, and we got spotted straight away by the organisers. So it was Jill at first, wasn't it?
Jill recognised her, and said she'd seen with videos and stuff, and she took it all in good jest, in fairness, wasn't it? So that's good.
Yeah, we got the impression that that we didn't come across massively well in their eyes, based on what we'd said. But bear in mind, it had been a while since we recorded the videos, so I was trying to think back, and I think it was mostly positive. I did have a couple of criticisms, and I still think they're valid criticisms, to be honest. We just said, I just said, I guess, that at points I think Graham possibly talked a bit too much. And what I meant by that was there's times when he turns the light off and it's pitch black, and then obviously we're meant to like listen for noises, look for shadows and stuff.
Yeah.
And he does leave gaps of time, but it's only ever 4 or 5 seconds, which I think isn't long enough. I just think you should extend that a bit so it can kind of get in the ear for what, like, the surroundings.
Yeah.
That's what my criticism
It was supposed to be constructive, wasn't it? That was. That's
but as I say, on the whole, it was a min time, like the first time we were there.
And we did recommend people should go.
And we recommended it, and it was entirely positive, the videos. So, and I think Graham and especially Jill, she knew that. Like, she did say, like, obviously she liked the videos and everything, so that's good. I'm glad that they watched them. Hopefully they'll watch this one.
In fairness, they do both tell you beforehand, like, don't expect something to happen because it may not happen forward. And I guess that kind of happened this time around, especially in comparison to last time.
It did, yeah. So we went through the early beats of it were similar. We'll get the introduction to the place, and then we'll go out in the woods. We'll go down to the hanging woods, which has got history and stuff.
Trees,
we'll not go into it because we don't need to this time. And that was more for this time. That was like at least 20 people in the group this time, whereas I think that was 14 the first time. So it was kind of a bit different. My brother's girlfriend Paula and her sister and her boyfriend were late, so that was a bit weird. So we were like in the woods, and I was like, I was getting messages and that. So to be honest, I was a little bit preoccupied with that. I wasn't listening entirely to what was going on, which possibly took away some of the atmosphere. They did eventually get there though. And the weird thing was, because it was raining, everyone had the hoods up and that and had hats on. I couldn't tell who was who. I know for a fact some people kept turning around to talk to me and were talking to Davey by mistake.
At one point I was speaking to a total stranger, I think that was Christy.
Yeah. So that was quite funny, to be honest. That was like, as I said, at least 20 people there, and you couldn't tell who was who because it was pitch black. And everyone kind of looked the same.
But in the woods, nothing really happened, I don't think.
We didn't hear anything. Jill was on the perimeter. She was taking like photos from quite far away, so people kept hearing her like scuffling the leaves and stuff and thinking that was something, but it was just her. We didn't hear anything. I don't think even Graham kind of acknowledged anything really, did he?
Not really.
And then we went basically inside. We went via like the oubliette window, and he talked about that again. Went inside, and we didn't go through the room where the witch's portrait was this time, which is probably, maybe that's why we didn't get shit, because we didn't take the piss out of her.
No, you.
Last time
you didn't take the mick out of her.
Last time we accidentally took the piss out of this.
No, it wasn't we though, it was just you.
We accidentally took the piss out of this portrait of what it turned out to be a witch. We didn't know. Well, yeah, I didn't know that. But anyway, we didn't do that this time. We went straight into
the torture chamber.
The torture chamber, yeah. And then it went mental, to be honest. Not for us personally. Like, we'll say right now, we didn't see fuck all that night. We didn't see anything. Didn't really hear anything.
So Graham gave us some insight about like the tools and things like that were there. And in fairness, his insight into it all second to none. Like, he knows everything there is to know about that place, and if you've got any questions, like, I'm sure he'll be able to answer them in a heartbeat.
Also, he's a funny bloke.
Yeah,
Like,
he is
he's
actually
always,
funny.
he's always got some good
He,
one-liners.
he is actually very funny, and which is I think is good in that because especially for those people that are really on edge, it sort of takes the sharpness out of it a little bit
definitely.
for them,
If
and
we're
it just
getting-
helps them relax a little bit. Which
If
is
it was
good.
like a fucking like librarian taking me around and that, and it was just like monotone, history like stuff, it would be shit.
yeah, exactly. So
aye.
people got split up again. Beth got put
Almost
by
where she was
herself,
last time.
almost
didn't
where she was last time.
she wasn't.
I
She wasn't best pleased.
She wasn't.
But you did it.
She did do it. I got put by myself, and did Davey?
David, a lot of people did. At least six
Yeah,
people
yeah.
did.
But
I
you
ended
didn't
up
this
just
time,
holding
did you?
hands in a circle again.
Yeah, yeah.
But this time, I knew that people on me left and right. It was Davy's last, Lindsay was on me left, and my brother's last, Paul, was on me right.
Yeah.
Uh,
But in there, I didn't feel anything. Much like the first time, though, I didn't feel anything.
I
the first
didn't
time.
either. So
on this occasion, though, people were saying they could see shadows and they could hear whispering and hear growling and stuff. I didn't see or hear anything.
Me neither.
I was fine where I was.
So we were standing in a circle. That was like maybe 8 of us or 10 of us in a circle. So we're kind of facing each other. And people were saying they could see shadows and that. I can't see fuck all when the lights are off. It's just dark. Lindsay on my left was like, there's a shadow like literally just in front of us. And I was just like, I was like squinting and stuff. Couldn't see fuck all. Because she had me hand, she like lifted her hand up to point at where it was. I still couldn't see anything at all.
I didn't see or feel anything. But then people started freaking out, Beth being one of them.
Aye, Beth wasn't happy at all. I think, what did she say then? Because
Didn't she say she could see your face?
I think she said something like that, which is freaky as out.
And
She said she heard a groan as well.
Yeah.
I mean, there was loads of people in the room, so I didn't hear anything.
But, I mean, the problem is, I think we talked about this afterwards, people end up playing off each other's emotions. So if someone starts freaking out, then that affects somebody else, and so on and so on. And before you know
Definitely.
it, everyone's like, oh my God, what's going on?
Definitely.
And in fairness to Graham, I think even he was like a little bit frustrated because seemingly there was stuff going on, but people were getting so scared and then talking over the top of what may have been happening, and
Yeah.
then people wanting to leave and stuff. And
Yeah.
I found that a little bit frustrating, even though I wasn't seeing or feeling anything. If there was something happening, I would have liked to have stayed in there a bit longer.
My mate Davey was standing next to the Iron Maiden thingy, and he swears that something touched the back of his neck, which is kind of mad. And then he said he heard something walk past him, and someone else said it. I can't remember if it was Chris or another lad. Someone said basically the same thing that Davey did, which is a bit weird. But
Yeah.
again, this was further down the room from where we were, so Dan wasn't that far away from me.
No, I was-
although he
I was
wasn't in
directly
the
behind you, basically.
although he wasn't in the hippie circle like I was, he wasn't that far away. So we basically got the same experience, which was nothing.
Yeah.
And as Dan says, it escalated to that point where everyone was starting, like a lot of people were starting to freak out, and then against Graham's will, they were like, get the lights back on, so they did, and it was a bit disappointing because it was really getting a bit dramatic,
Yeah.
and then it just ended. So after that, like Beth wasn't happy at all, was she?
No, Beth. So we left, and then Beth felt like she couldn't continue. She felt like she had to leave at that point, didn't she?
Alright, so we had a little discussion before we went upstairs, and like Beth bowed out, like it's fair play to her. If she felt she couldn't go on, she couldn't. So her and Chris left at that point. And then we went upstairs to the is it King Edward room? Is
Yeah.
that what it's called.
And Graham just gave her a little bit of insight into that room again.
Oh, actually, but we went up on our own as well, because obviously
We did,
we were speaking to Beth. The whole group went upstairs, apart from me, you and Christy, and we went up on our own with like just a shitty torch,
Yeah.
like a phone. That was a bit freaky.
That was.
We
it
went
was
past
cool.
them little coffins again, didn't we?
Yeah, we did.
But yeah, we went in that room, and that, obviously again, now happened. They don't turn the lights off
No,
up there.
it's they just tell you the history of the room and the type
Yeah.
of activity that they normally see in there. And then we went on to the Great Hall, where last time that's where it went a bit nuts for us, wasn't it? But again, in there nothing happened to us.
Not really. We were seated a little bit further down the room, on the same side of the table, further down the room than last time, and there was two lasses on my right. And basically, the same kind of thing happened. Lights got turned off. A couple of people got placed in different places. Graham was doing his talky thing, little spaces of silence, which obviously I've got a problem about. Should be longer periods of silence, but never mind. And then, to be honest, I was waiting for it to happen. I don't know what I mean by that, but it was. A cup bounced off the table again.
I still got a huge fright though.
Aye, because it's more of a startle than a fright.
Yeah,
though.
yeah.
I've said it before. It was directly in front of this last, like, one person down from me, and obviously she shit herself. Oddly enough, she, while the lights were off, was the one who was saying she could like see a shadow just like literally to the right of her face, and then the cup bounced right next to her.
Yeah.
So make of that what you will. To be honest, I don't think at that point people were that scared. I don't think like the hysteria in the group was gone by then. I don't think people were like feeding each other again.
Are you saying it was Beth's fault?
Aye, maybe Beth was the catalyst. Aye. And that was in the Great Hall. Then we went into the chapel, so it was kind of the same beats as the end of last time. I was excited for the chapel because that's where we heard voices and like cackling and Tango putting the haunted cupboard, which is the highlight of the whole thing.
Yeah, that was your favourite part.
It was so good. So we went in, Dan pussied out totally and he sneaked in and sat right in the corner. So like even if he got asked to go,
in front of
even
us.
if he got asked to go in the cupboard, he couldn't get out. So he totally pussied out. Like
I'll take that one.
Nah, you
I'll
totally
take that
did.
one. I'll take that one.
And my brother's girlfriend's sister, Emma, got put in the cupboard. And I haven't like spoken to her or anything, so I don't really know her perspective. I've kind of heard from my brother's lass, Paula. So it was funny. So the lights went off. Graham started talking to the little lass ghost who died in the corner. Apparently, I think we've probably talked about it on one of the other videos. And then he said he could see like a shadow moving towards the haunted cupboard where Emma was. Oh, and just point out, because you got a different perspective from outside this time, you obviously couldn't see her when she was in there, and that's what it was like when you went there. So you were gone, we couldn't see you. So
even when the torches were on and she stepped in there, she disappeared.
Aye, so that's, you kind of a little bit around the corner, so it makes it even worse when you're in there, really. So I think she did possibly see or hear something when she was in there, but again, I haven't spoke to her. But what made me laugh was she started to get scared towards the end, and a bloke, he's called Les, he was obviously sitting in the main room with us, and it was dead silent, and all we heard was Emma in the corner going like, Les, like proper shitting herself, and he just ignored her.
It was fear in her voice, wasn't it?
I just started pissing myself, because like, he just didn't even answer her, so she's just sitting there in the dark, like, you know, she's just reaching out to like her husband, and he's just like, nah, I just won't even answer you. I thought that was funny.
But, I mean, I guess the only weird thing that I noticed was, I can't remember if it was in the chapel or the Great Hall, but everyone seemed to be perfectly still, but the motion sensors were flashing.
That's true. I don't know much about like the technology and stuff. I don't know how they work, but that did happen in the Great Hall and happened in the chapel. But maybe that's weird. I don't know enough about them to put much weight on them.
And that was it, really, wasn't it?
Aye, that was it. So
I would still recommend people go though, because like Graham and Jill both tell you beforehand, there's no guarantees that anything will happen. They can't guarantee anything.
And we did push. Well, look, we went twice. You know, in the space of 5 months. The first time was mad. Like, it started off slowly, and then just weird shit happened. We couldn't explain it. It happened directly to us. So me, Dan, Beth, and Chris were all totally in amongst it, and it was really like, it's like, holy shit. This time it didn't happen that way, which it did take the steam out of it a bit. But it was still, you know, it's 20 quid. It's like a good 2 or 3 hours. It's a different way to spend a Friday night, and it is a laugh. We didn't laugh as much as the first time.
And you do get awesome stories. Like, you do learn loads about the castle and about like the awful things that happened there and stuff.
Definitely. I would totally recommend it again. So it's definitely a positive experience. I would recommend people to go, even if you've just got a passing interest, even if you don't believe in any like the weird ghosty shit, which we don't necessarily. I'm open-minded, but I don't believe anything specific.
Yeah.
I would recommend it because it is a laugh. And we may go back to some degree, mightn't we?
Yeah, we're thinking about renting an apartment there, weren't we?
Aye, we think that might be, like, possibly take it to another level. I know we won't have the run of the castle, but we'll still be there all night. We'll, you know, have a few beers and that'll be quite funny.
You're not made to stay in your rooms, like Graham was saying, you can go to the woods and stuff.
Oh, aye, so like the hanging woods are genuinely creepy, so it might be kind of good to go and just sit there for a while and just see what we feel. We might, if Graham and Jill are doing another tour that night, we might go on that, like for the 2 hours or whatever it is,
and then do our own thing afterwards, which would be quite cool. If that's possible, but don't know if that's even possible or not, do we? So,
exactly. So it was good. At the end, quite a few people said they'd come back and do like another one or like a vigil thingy. We didn't, just because, I don't know, 6 hours, being there for 6 hours, like not getting to bed. If nothing's really happening, I don't know if I could stomach it, to be honest. It might be a bit too much. So we'll see. But we will go back to in some capacity. So definitely check it out. It's what's the team called? Is it the
I can't remember.
Fuck.
Is it like Chillingham Paranormal?
It's something like that, they are on like the main Chillingham Castle website though. If you go on there and like click on the ghost tours or ghost link, it takes it to like their information. Yeah, it's got their booking number and stuff. So definitely give them a go. It is a laugh. And that's what happened this time.
Yeah, cool.
And check out our earlier videos. If you haven't seen the 3 early Chillingham Castle videos, that's where we're going into detail about what happened the first time. And it is interesting. Like, It really is.
Yeah, yeah, definitely.
I was blown away. So, alright, cheers.
Walla walla